Fi has been doing very well in Project Blue as of late, taking down multiple in-person tournaments with good player turnout. So it seems like very similar to Commoner, Fi is also proving to be a formidable force in Project Blue. It's not that difficult to see why. The deck's damage output is incredibly high. You have good damage output even in the equipment, and it also had a bunch of support recently with the Hunted. So we'll just quickly run through the list and get into a game. That way you can see how it plays, but it's very linear and straightforward. For our equipment suite, the biggest thing here is we're playing the entire Crouching Tiger package between the chest piece, the legs, and the arms. Very straightforward. You just use this for a power turn. You block with these, get their benefit in terms of life, and then you're just going to crack the boots, make a tiger, have it come in for 2, and get a resource off the chest piece. We're not playing any cards that benefit from having Crouching Tigers. It's just a way to block 3 and then send damage back at your opponent. Very straightforward. We're running Ember Blade. We do have some ways we can break in this deck, unfortunately, but hopefully the ratio is high enough that we're not going to break most turns. And a good old Blade back in our helm just for the headpiece. In terms of our main deck construction, it is like every single Fi list you've ever seen, or if you've been playing against Syndra lately, it's very similar to that. A bunch of Go Again cards that all care about Draconic. We have some 1-cost cards, specifically like Outlaw, Mounting Anger. When we draw a blue, we can send a 1-cost with our Ember Blade in the same turn. A very easy deck to pilot, and we have some Chain Enders, so we have Snatch, Salt the Wound, Lava Burst, and Breaking Point specifically. And then for our inventory, we just have some D-reacts, so you could play these into aggro, depending if you have to go first or if you're worried about denying certain on-hits. But these can also be good into like Azalea with things like Reinforce the Line or dominate attacks from Guardian. You just have ways to block out some of the more evasive damage, which is kind of difficult to do in this format. And then we have Arcane Polarities and Spell Void equipment just as a way to race any Arcane deck or Wizard deck. However, in our maybe board, we actually do have some pretty interesting things for consideration. I am aware of playing Mask of the Many Faces and then naming a certain combo card so you can, turn Flusterfist basically into another Salt the Wound. I think this is way too cute, and I think you would rather just block with your headpiece like normal and get 2 life out of it. One thing I did forget to mention really quickly is that Face Adversity, very specifically, works pretty well against Azalea, right? When she's drawing off the Death Dealer, you're able to just get a block 2 headpiece, which is hard to get into her because she doesn't have a weapon, right? So if you're going to play Blade back in her helm, you're only going to get 1 point of value. But the only other thing to consider in the maybe board is playing if it's Draconic cards, right? Because then you can start playing Fealty and getting some of these payoffs, but I wanted to at least try a super straightforward red line list because this is doing very well, but I am aware that there are lists that are also doing very well that are also playing some of these payoff cards, right? So you could do either one. I think both are probably good options, and it mainly comes down to your personal preference. All right, so here we are playing against Lexi. We decided to run Face Adversity, and then we also decided to run our Reinforce the Line just in case if they were on a Dominate Shiver build. Doesn't look like that's the case, but we're going to find a clean way to block down here. I think we're just going to start by blocking 4, probably preferring to keep the Rising Resentment because there's a chance that we actually might get to play it with the Breaking Point, although I'm assuming I'm going to have to fully block out my opponent's turn. Does look like that's the case here. And we are going to leak a lot of damage on turn 1. Although we can deny it, and then we might as well get our Battle War encounters on it. There's a chance we just pop off with all of these for the next turn. Definitely been unfortunate. We would have liked to keep that opening, and now there's a chance that we actually may draw a Reinforce the Line here when we don't want it. Okay, it looks like it's pretty close to the exact same hand, but the biggest problem here is we don't have the resource that we would have gotten from Rising Resentment, but we can pop all of our equipment here, so this may just be perfectly fine. Start by playing Rabble. Show a red, so we're in the clear. And then we'll send Ronin. So now we have our starter. We're going to play Hot on our heels. And you can see how this matchup is going to go, right? It was pretty self-explanatory. We'll break our equipment here. We'll also use Phi. We're not going to use Phi, unfortunately. We can put it in Arsenal for next turn, but go ahead and we'll play our Crouching Tiger. We'll make a resource. And then we'll send Breaking Point. All right, need to rewind so that way we're able to activate Phi here. We get a Phoenix Flame back that we can throw in Arsenal, which is just a nice starter for us. There's a chance we could brick, and so just having a quick bailout is definitely a good thing. So we may end up blocking out a lot this turn. We do have some 3 blocks, and now our Face Adversity is online. They have to pitch a whole card to play instead of just going to use knockers, so we're actually really rewarded by playing the Breaking Point. We also could just ignore their entire turn and just go face. I don't really know how beneficial that will be. I mean, we do have a lot of damage, but we do need to be careful. So let's at least think about this really quick. I think the Electrify is going to be triggering this turn, so I don't really see much of a point denying it, but I do want to consider an on-hit, maybe like Snatch at the end of the turn. Swift Shot's not that menacing, so I think at this point I actually would opt just to take all the damage and just pressure Lethal instead, even though it kind of sucks for sending a blue here. And they opt not to do anything else. So our turn basically plays itself. We're going to get to rip a lot of cards from our opponent this turn, so I feel like we're in a pretty easy spot to clutch the game out from here. I don't really think a whole lot of their hands coming back at us can actually really pressure more than maybe just the headpiece. But this will force an entire card with Devotion, and then if they have a 2 block, they'll have to give us 2 cards to the Lava Burst as well. So it feels pretty easy from here on out, and that was with the blue as well. Like if we had a red on this turn, we would strip the whole hand and the game would basically be over. We may lose out on a little bit of damage if we're forced to block with the card, right? Because if they go 4 and a 4, we could have at least said no blocks, but now we'll at least have to give 1 card. Looks like they're going to give us a Frostbite. The Cold Snap doesn't do anything, so we don't really care. Looks like it was just a way to try to shut down our turn, but it's not really going to do anything. We can block with the headpiece here if we want to. Our turn looks like it's just going to be a Rising Resentment blue, costs 1 resource, and then we're going to go Ember Blade, Lava Vein Loyalty, and then Salt just to clear all the cards out. I think we might as well cash this in here. I don't really think we're going to get any other opportunity to block at this point in the game. So we'll start. This will come in for 1. I think we have the game on lock here because we also are going to be able to grab the Phoenix Flame. So that's going to take a card. This will take a card. And that should be it. But you can see the damage output of this deck. As early as turn 2, dumping our entire hand at our opponent and ripping basically everything from them. And it looks like they have all 2 blocks left, so it's going to be a really easy finish to the game. We'll just throw 3 and end it. So yeah, so that's how I'd pilot the deck. I mean, it's very linear, it's very straightforward. It should be pretty easy to pick up. All right, so we're going to try going first. Definitely feeling pretty awful about this hand. We can use the Phoenix Flame though, so it's not completely terrible. I may choose just to go down to 1 blue in hand. We may not actually play anything else. We might just Arsenal the Snatch and pass. This is like a third of our blue base, so there's a high likelihood we're going to draw something we kind of want a blue for, and I don't really think it's going to happen at any other point. Very marginal, but I think we would prefer to use the Cinder Skin Devotion. If our next hand is all red line, we can play the Lava Vein Loyalty from hand. I mean, it really sucks. It's not good, but I mean, it's pretty viable to do. So we're gonna go to end here, and we'll see if our opponent wants to pop their Honing Hood. They do, which means that we can potentially pressure, but I don't think it's worth it. If we had some reds in hand, I would say yes, but I just don't think we're going to be able to punish them enough. At most, we get one card for the Snatch and the Boots, but we lose our setup potential. We get a Frostbite. It's a bummer, but that's why we're glad that we kept the blue. We're going to lose our Arsenal for the turn, which is unfortunate, but definitely something we can come back from. Unfortunately, this hand doesn't really function. There's some problems with it. We can use our boots and the arms to get to the Rupture, but it's not really ideal. We also know they have a second strike in hand, so I think we're just going to block, probably starting with the Lava Burst. Our opponent descends Bolden Shot and passes, so I guess their hand bricked up. Pretty bizarre, to be honest. Our hand is at least somewhat functional. Just instead of Lava Burst, our Chain Ender is going to be steering Emberblade because we actually don't have the 2 Draconic links, but the cool thing is that it'll still get buffed by the first Tenant, so it's still going to be pretty powerful. I mean, this still comes in for 5, so we get a 3-card 11. Definitely not bad. And if our opponent can't pressure lethal, I'm pretty sure they end up just dying on the follow-up turn. We'll have a Fridge block for 5. But hopefully we get to keep our Snatch. Looks like it's second strike, so yeah, definitely good for us. We don't care about blocking this. We do know that they have a yellow one in hand. So we could think about it if we really want to. We do turn off that card. I feel like at the very least we can just give the armor pieces here and then reassess afterwards. Our turn is going to play itself. It's just going to be mounting plus Emberblade and then the rest of our attacks. And then we're going to chain end on Snatch. They use the second strike for the load, so now we have Phase Adversity online here. And then we'll see if they have a pump for the Bolden Shot. Even if they do have a pump for the Bolden Shot, I don't think we're going to respect the on hit here. And we'll just go ahead and take it. Just because they have Bullseyes up, so... I mean, committing cards here to deny the reload is kind of pointless. Winner's Bite is unfortunate, for sure. I think there might be a way to play around this, though. We can just use the boots and everything else for the mounting anger, and then our turn still plays exactly the same. We just don't get the Emberblade swing, so it does cost us 3 damage, but it's not that big of a deal. A Dry Powder Shot is not really that important here, but we'll just block it just to get the life here. That way we don't go to 4. So we'll go ahead and we'll pop everything. We'll start with the Crouching Tiger. And then we'll go ahead and we'll play Rising Resentment. See if we can get a block out of them. I don't think we're going to. That's fine. But then we're going to go Mounting Anger into Hot on Their Heels into Snatch. And then we also are probably going to grab our Phoenix Flame back this turn as well. So we probably get a whole card plus the chess piece for the Mounting Anchor. And then between the rest of these cards, we'll probably at least get 1 to 2 more cards. Letting this hit is probably the worst option out of everything because they're going to be forced to block this turn anyway. You might as well block and get the extra 1 point of life here. Because now, I mean, this unnecessarily comes in for 4 and you probably have to block with the 3 block and the chess piece anyway. Flame will probably buy the chess piece, and then the Snatch will buy the last 2 cards. Our opponent goes down to a 1-card hand. Can't pressure lethal, so we get a free 4 cards to send back at them. So I'm assuming that we have the game on lock. Unless if they also have a non-block in hand, which it seems like that's the case. So, but regardless, we can look at our next 4 cards. Yeah, we would have absolutely had the game. We would have sent Outlaw into Emberblade into Hot on Her Heels, and then throw the Flame for lethal. So that's how the deck operates. Hopefully this is helpful for you. A very easy deck to pilot, so you should be good. But until next time, thank you for watching.